9 deck choices. Let's look at it. You got one of the top minds in South Park Phone Destroyer explaining it to you, baby. Get ready. All right, let's take a quick glance. I like to know if there's removal spells, if there's stuff like, you know, Leanne, blah, blah, blah. Just to kind of get a feel, you know, poison's important to know about. All right, let's get started. Slave versus Santa. This actually looks like a week we ran not that long ago. This looks very familiar choices. Slave versus Santa. At first glance, the Santa and the Psalm look like they'd be a nice pairing together, but I would say that Shield Maiden is almost definitely your choice. I don't see anything. Inuit being an option is going to really make Psalm tough to go with. There's nothing that Psalm really kills or deals with. Kind of impacts this slot, but not really. This slot, I guess, but it doesn't kill any of them with the half damage. So I don't think Psalm's the choice. Psalm just gets Leanne probably. Yeah, I don't think Psalm's the choice. So Santa's definitely not the choice then if Psalm's not the choice. So Slave is going to be your choice, I would say. There's not really too many redeeming qualities about Santa anymore, unfortunately. He used to be pretty good, but he just doesn't stand up anymore. Obviously, Space Warrior is your choice here just because Dwarf King sucks. If your team chooses Dwarf Team 6, if he chooses Dwarf King, get out of there. Your team sucks. All right, Garrison versus the Dar. What would be good to Dar? You could Dar... Well, you could Dar the Psalm. You could Dar the Leanne. You could Dar the Classy. You could Dar the Bar Brady. You could Dar the Slave. Yeah, so Dar is going to be the choice there. The value you can get from getting a card Dard, a good Dark Angel red out on any of these units to not only does it reposition you, but it also, which could be really important on a day with Leanne, right? So it repositions you, and it also obviously heals you, and then you have a really strong range card behind you. Now, Garrison could help you kill the Slave, could help you kill one of these, but, you know, could help you kill the Sizzle or the Scuzzle, but, you know, that's one thing that doesn't, you know, could potentially hurt you too, because the way that his ability works, it can mess you up too. So Dar is a little safer for sure. Also, the shenanigans you can get into with Dar Leanne is just too much fun. Too much fun. All the charge units, Santa's better. Nah. It's just no. Even with the charge units, you'll get one off maybe. Like maybe you get two, but then what? Like CKI is not the choice. You double stack your Wendy maybe, I guess. That's good. You could get 2 gunslingers out maybe, I guess. It's just not worth it. When Slave will break easily potentially, but Slave could also still not break, you know? That potential is game winning. Slave can win a match by himself potentially. And the Cox can be really impactful. If you get it right, you play the gunslinger out right when the Cox spawn, and you have an absolute new kid destroyer. All right, so I'm sticking with Slave. You might see Santa's though, but I doubt it. Shield Maiden is obviously the choice. She's just one of the best cards in the game. So brutal. Shield Maiden and Sword Space Warrior. Very, very good, cheap threat to the new kid. Robin is the choice. Outlaw is just bad, so he's not the choice. CKI could be potentially fun, but the Monkey is just too damn good. Monkey is definitely the choice there. This is interesting. Let's come back to that. Probably the Scuzzle, but I could entertain the Bar Brady because the Scuzzle is probably just going to get Leanne anyway. Leanne is going to be the choice because the Dar shenanigans you can get into with her, and Classy is just kind of hit and miss. Gunslinger is going to be the choice just because Bebe is just not very great. Poison is the choice to... Poison will kill Robin. Poison will kill her. Poison kills any of the backline. Poison could kill the Inuit to prevent value. Poison kills Monkey. Poison kills quite a bit, so Poison will be good. Inuit, I think, is going to have to be the choice just because Inuit is going to be one of the few things you could use to really deal with the Scuzzle quickly. You could deal with Som really easily, so that kind of makes it so you wouldn't play him really. Classy potentially, so just a lot that Inuit's going to help you deal with. And then for the Purify, I mean, probably Purify would be the choice. Just simply for cycle and or I guess you could remove the poison on somebody. You could remove the gunslinger boost on somebody. Freeze Ray. I always like Freeze Ray, but that 3 cost, you could really use it wrong and lose because of it. So like you don't, while I don't think I would mess that up, the majority of my teammates and your teammates would potentially mess up that Freeze Ray. You saw in the last Team Wars 3 times where they wasted Freeze Ray. It was literally worthless. It did absolutely nothing. So that's something you just kind of want to prevent. Purify, a little bit harder, even if you play it terribly. It's still only 2 costs. Nice cycle, so don't hate that. This was a deck a former teammate in Silver said Classy was better than Leanne. Nah, I just, the value you can get from the Leanne, man. Like if they play Som, play Leanne in front of them, it like totally counters it. If they play Scuzzle, play Leanne out, counters it. They play Barbrady, play like it just counters so much this week that this week the absolute pros and the biggest matchups are going to be dictated by who gets the best Dar Leanne combo off, or who gets off a Dar Leanne combo at all. Because if you have Leanne's going head to head and you Dar yours and move them away, and then your Leanne turns his Leanne into a cock, then his Leanne's completely nullified, and you still have Leanne potentially. So it's definitely a dangerous combination. Scuzzle versus Barbrady, I think I like the Barbrady. But the Scuzzle, because like the Scuzzle boost on who? You know, like on who? There's nobody that, I mean, obviously Scuzzle boost on anybody can be impactful, but like there's nobody that I see the boost on, I'm just like, okay, that's a win condition. CKI would be funny, but if you bet your whole game on getting CKI Scuzzle off, you're probably not gonna do well. You could win 1 match and then lose the other 3. But yeah, Monkey's just so consistently good. He can hit New Kid quickly. His ability can tag people who would normally die or not die from New Kid or something like that. So yeah, it's very, very useful. Honestly, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of differences here. You might see some teams who go Santa Som. I don't think so, though. Like, I don't think so. It's just not going to be worth it. Shield Maiden is just so good. Shield Maiden could counter Inuit potentially with her shield. Shield Maiden could potentially counter the Som blast and not get hit by it at all. Yeah, I think she could counter the Barbrady shield. She could counter the Garrison ability slightly. Do I see teams running Hat? Probably not, just because there's so many easy Dar targets. And there's not like an absolute Garrison target. Like Maxie's a really good Garrison target. Obviously, Manbear Pig is. Scuzzle sort of is, but like when you have Leanne, and there's no real way to like get rid of your. They can't just transmog your Leanne, right? I don't think you're gonna worry that much about the Scuzzle. But I could be wrong though, because you could, like, ideally you'd play Leanne on the Scuzzle, kill the Scuzzle without Leanne dying, and then Leanne walks into the people that Scuzzle boosted and turns them into cocks. That's like your ideal play. And you could potentially make that happen with Dar. Garrison, I've seen people lose because they play Garrison on Scuzzle, and then I just play Monkey on the top side away from all his units, and it'll just kill everybody because everybody's attacking the Scuzzle for 37 seconds because it takes so long to kill him. So I don't like Just like Freeze Ray has potential for misplay, same idea with the Garrison. Very big chance for misplay. Not saying that there's not for the Dar, because you can whiff the Dar completely, but I would say like there's not that much quick damage that's gonna come out. Don't Dar unless you know what you're doing, right? Don't Dar unless you're absolutely gonna get it, because if you miss it on the Leanne, if you miss it on the Slave, you have 2 other targets that you could hit it with, so you should be fine. I mean, I'll see people Dar the Wendy, I bet. I mean, I definitely see people Dar the Wendy and do just fine with it. Dar Wendy and then Robin tweak the Wendy on the backside. All of a sudden you have a great tank with a shield, and then these 2, which are, you know, possibly top 10 DPS range in the game. Hat for Scuzzle, yeah, but like I said, it could be bad. You could end up losing that one for sure. And then Bar Brady kind of maybe will make him play the Leanne against that anyway, so you could maybe protect your Slave from the Leanne or something like that. Bar Brady gets on to New Kid, does good damage, win a game with that. But yeah, Scuzzle probably still a good choice though. People would probably mostly go Scuzzle just because if you can like wait to play the Scuzzle until the Leanne was played, that's the thing for me though. Like, you'll have to probably wait to play Scuzzle till Leanne gets played. So you're probably just going to be stuck there with him in your hand a lot. Whereas Bar Brady, you'll probably be able to play him a little looser. And in this deck, like this is a potentially, you could have a really bad hand because you only really have 3 units that you can just play whenever. Like, you can play Slave whenever, kind of. You can play him whenever. You can play her whenever. Monkey whenever, kind of. But otherwise, this is situational. This is situational. This one would be situational. This would be probably situational. Very situational. You definitely want to save that for certain situations. And then, you know, this slot is kind of just like a moot slot. I wouldn't really... There's not very many situations I would use the Purify. Like, if I absolutely knew the poison was coming, and I was holding the Purify and I got it immediately. But if the poison has already ticked off 3 damage, I don't even feel like it's worth the Purify sometimes. But if it's a situation where like that Purify is going to kill, or that poison is going to kill my, I don't know, it's going to kill my Gunslinger and my Robin Tweak, that's a good Purify. You keep your 2 backlines, keep them alive, and that's potentially the only thing that they could like kill the backline with. And that's 3 energy that they basically wasted. You spent 2, you're up 1 energy, and you have a push. That's probably a win right there. So I would say Purify is probably the choice for sure. Although, I love me some Freeze Ray. You guys know I love Freeze Ray. But any other slots anybody wants to discuss? Purify can remove the Scuzzle boost. It's not bad. It's not bad. DAR is Dark Angel Red, by the way. Yeah, Scuzzle is definitely good. Robin Tweak CKI for the YOLO. I mean, if Inuit wasn't out there, man. If Inuit wasn't out there. And Leanne, too. You could just play Leanne in front of him, and it doesn't matter how much health he gets. He's dead, you know? But yeah, it's fun. I do remember one team, one week, might have been this week, some week, had CKI, Robin, and I think it was Hanky. And I destroyed somebody with him. It was so much fun. It's so hard to do, though. It's so hard to do. Because usually he gets removed. Inuit versus Hanky. Yeah, Inuit's just the choice because you're going to need him to help deal with this slot, and this slot. It's a good deterrent of the Psalm, potentially. You can play him out, and then, like, if you play him against the Scuzzle and he plays the Monkey, at least the Monkey still dies, you know? Like, if you really go the Santa Psalm CKI route, then sure, go Hanky. Sure. If you really do that, then yeah, Hanky is probably the better choice, but I just, in Team Wars, Hanky having that little bit of movement, or that little bit of a war cry, if there's somebody with an ability, which there almost always will be, because Shield Maiden's going to be out there, you know, Space Warrior's going to be out there, Gunslinger might be out there. There's probably going to be somebody with an ability. That one little moment where he does an attack could be the difference between life and death when you're defending New Kid, attacking new kid, attacking middle, whatever it might be, that one little moment could be enough to kill, to have the hanky at a disadvantage. So that enough right there makes me think I'm gonna keep the Inuit. But also, if you think about, you know, 5 of these cards, if they lead with these cards, if you don't have a good counter for that, they could win just because you're not gonna be able to really, like if they play Scuzzle midline, if you don't have like if you have a bad hand, you could potentially lose just immediately from that. Like if all you have is, you have your Purify, you have Poison, you have Robin Tweak, and you have your Slave or your Dar maybe. Yeah, like you're in big trouble. Like that's a terrible hand. But one extra option in the Inuit being able to play out there and at least kill that unit, you know? It's just better. Just better. But yeah, that would be, I mean, if you're, like I said, if your team picks Dwarf King, get out of there. Because that's an absolute, if somebody's arguing for Outlaw Tweak, kick them out. Otherwise, the other stuff is pretty, like you could maybe go both ways, but it's pretty, I think it's pretty obvious. All right, everybody, that does it for the Team Wars choices. We're going to get into some South Park actual game time, so stick around. But if you're on YouTube, let me know if you need any more discussions. I'll discuss anything in the comments, so if you disagree with anything we said or want to hammer a point that we didn't discuss, like, oh yeah, you know, you didn't mention that, this, and this, whatever, make sure you leave that in the comments as well, and we will see you guys on the next one. Peace out.